Okay, so notifications are going off. Let's see who's going to hop on. I'm not going to start just yet. Let's see who's about to hop on. Hello, I see somebody has joined. Hey, hey. Hey. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. I'm going to start in just a minute. I'm a little early. I just hopped on anyway. I'm going to start in just a moment. I see you guys coming on. Hello, hello, hello. I'm getting started. Hello, Ruth. Charrisa T is on. Talk about mentorship on today. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Come on in, come on in. I know I'm a little bit early. I know notifications are going off. I know we don't usually get on Facebook Live a lot, but we're going to get on here and talk about mentorship on today. Let's see who's going to come on in. I know notifications are going off. And even though you may not be on here live, some of you guys are going to be watching a replay. I have 1 minute. It is 9:59. I'm going to get started exactly at 10 o'clock. So thank you again for coming on, and thank you for joining. I hope that you go ahead and invite someone and share with your friends about this Facebook Live. Yes, we're going to be talking about mentorship. Let's see who's hopping on here. It's Saturday. Happy Saturday, everybody. I know we all are quarantined and in our home, and I know it's Saturday morning. Some of you guys are cooking breakfast or cleaning up the house, which I'm going to do as soon as I get off. So I am excited to get started. I got some notification going off on my phone. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Go ahead and invite your friends, your family. Go ahead and invite your followers. Today I'm going to talk about mentorship. Before I get started, I have 10 o'clock on the dot. Woo, 10 o'clock on the dot. So good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Again, thank you so much for joining. I am Charrisa T, the CEO and founder, visionary of Hello Ruth Women's Ministry, nonprofit organization, whichever way you want to call it. And I am just excited to be able to come on here and share my heart with you. Before I do, I want you to go ahead and invite someone, share, let them know that we are on. This Facebook Live is birthed from a survey that we took a while back. We took it a while back, and it talked about just trying to figure out where everyone was. Those of you who really follow the ministry and really are into like our emails and things and conference calls and prayer calls and things like that. We really wanted to hear where you guys were. And so what we did was we took a survey towards the end of the year just to kind of see what you all wanted us to minister on. And one of the topics was mentorship and how to mentor other women or ladies or girls, and being mentored, how to do that. And so that birthed this this Facebook Live. So welcome again. I see you guys are coming on. Welcome, 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 welcome. I can't see any comments, so I don't know who you are. So if you guys can hear me, make sure that you can, if you can give me a thumbs up. I'm hoping and I'm praying that you all are able to hear me on this morning, because I'm going to go ahead and get started regardless of who's on, who's not. Those of you will be able to catch the replay. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Charrisa T, and one of the CEO and the CEO and founder of Hello Ruth nonprofit organization or women's ministry. So today we're going to talk about mentorship. Woo! Again, this was birthed on the backside of a survey that some of you all took part in the end of last year, and just wanted to see kind of where you are, what you guys needed insight or wisdom on. And so mentorship was one, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you have questions about mentorship, please drop them down. If you are on, I see you guys. Hello, hello, hello. Make sure that you give me a thumbs up, share, go ahead and share, invite your friends and family to this live, because I believe that there's going to be something that's going to be shared or said that is going to be impactful for you. So I want to come from Proverbs 27 and 17. Proverbs 27 and 17, and it says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. That's what we're going to talk about today as far as talking about mentorship. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. So mentorship, what is it, right? So I know you've heard about people who say they have a mentor or things like that. So what is it? So mentorship is the guidance, and I'm looking down at my notes. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. I'm going to give you the definition of mentorship. It says the guidance provided by a mentor or an experienced person, or a relationship in which a more experienced or knowledgeable person helps and guide a less experienced or less knowledgeable person. So that's what we're going to talk about, mentorship. Before I go into what mentorship is, hello, I see you guys. Hello, Sade, I see you. Before I talk about what mentorship is, I'm going to talk about what it isn't. What it is not. So if you want to put notes up in the comments, or you want to take notes on this, this is what mentorship is not. I'm going to give you 3 things. Number 1, mentorship is not therapy. It is not therapy. Your mentor is not a therapist. They're going to, hey sweetheart, they're going to listen to you, and they're going to guide you on some things, but they're not a shrink. They're not a therapist. They are going to listen to you and respond, and they're going to respond based on experience or wisdom that they have. So mentorship is not therapy. It's not therapy. Number 2, mentorship is not a cure. It's not a cure. Hey, sweet pea. Mentorship is not a cure. So don't think that if you have a mentor, that this is it. Hey, Tasha. Hey, Detus. I see you guys. Hey. Mentorship is not a cure. It's not a end all. It's not going to fix everything. It's got to be up to you. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. It has to be up to you to take the advice or the wisdom or the knowledge that your mentor gives. But it is not a cure. Okay? It is not a cure. So mentorship is not therapy. Is not a cure. And number 3 is not a one-way street. Mentorship is not a one-way street. You can't go into it and thinking that, hello, I see you guys. Mentorship is not a one-way street. So you can't go in it and think that they are just going to be the person who's going to do everything. No, mentorship is a 2-way street, and we'll talk about that. It's going to take 2. They say it takes 2 to tango, right? So even in a mentorship partnership, it's going to take 2. You got to be able to connect, and you got to be able to be willing and vulnerable with that mentor. So mentorship is not, for those of you who are just joining, hey you guys, I see y'all. Hey loves, I see you guys. We're talking about mentorship, and I'm coming from Proverbs 27 and 17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. I told you guys mentorship is not therapy. The person that mentor is not a shrink. It's not a cure. It's not the end all. It's not going to fix everything, and it's not a one-way street. It's not just your mentor doing everything. You have to be willing to put some work into it. So, any questions, anything, if y'all have questions or anything like that, I am looking at the comments. I see you guys saying, hey, Darnisha, it's been a long time, baby girl. If you guys have questions about this, please drop them in the comments, and I'm going to try my best to answer them. Now, I told you what mentorship is not. So let's talk about what it is. Mentorship is obeying and listening. If I can sum it up, well, let me go back. Mentorship is listening and obeying. Listening and obeying. I have some scripture that I'm going to tie to this, and if you are just joining, I am coming from Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron. That is one of my favorite scriptures, and one that I have lived by for some time now. So mentorship is listening and obeying. When I think about mentoring, I always like to look at stories in the Bible, and I always, y'all know, I think about Naomi and Ruth. We all know that Naomi had wisdom. She had knowledge. There were things that she knew, and she guided Ruth to her next step. So mentorship is listening and obeying. You got to be able to listen. Sometimes when we go into partnerships with people, we so busy trying to get our things out that we don't take the time to listen to what someone else has to say. We have to learn how to be quiet sometimes and just gain wisdom and knowledge on a certain thing so that we'll know the best avenue that we could go through. And that's kind of like what Naomi and Ruth's situation was. Naomi told Ruth some very important things. Now I got to stop right there, because every time I talk about Naomi, a lot of people discredit her because they say she was bitter. Even though, and I need to say this, even though your mentor may be going through some things, does not mean that they don't have knowledge or they don't have wisdom or they have not experienced something that you are going through, and they cannot help you on a situation. So don't discredit the person who's giving you the wisdom. That's why we have to be able to listen to what's going on, so that we'll know, okay, we need to be able to have some discernment from God, so we'll know if this person is telling us some true knowledge, or we have to get our pride and things out of the way and really hear what they are saying. So when I think about Naomi and Ruth, I think about Naomi being this person who was bitter, this person who had all these issues. And some of you would think, okay, looking at somebody's life, or you can even look at my life and say, man, how's she gonna tell me how to do this? And she got this going on, she this and she that. It ain't all about that. It's the wisdom in God and the knowledge that God gives us. And again, I go back to the definition of mentorship. If you just came on, it is a relationship between two people where there's an experienced person and a less experienced person. It doesn't have to do with all the time with age too. Let me put that out there. It doesn't have to always do with age. You know, there are some teenagers who've gone through some things out of the mouth of babes, right? That can share some wisdom on some certain situations that we may have not gone through. So we need to be able to listen. Sometimes we so big trying to put our point across and get our point across to people. We got to hush. We got to hush so we can hear. So mentorship is listening and obeying. I think about not only in the Bible, with God and Jesus. I mean, Jesus had to go to the cross, but he didn't want to. He had to cry out to God, right? And like, Lord, take this cup away from me. But it was his will. So he had to listen and obey. So that's what mentorship is. Think about a parent and a child. Think about a parent. Think about your mothers. Think about your fathers. They're giving you wisdom. They may say, hey, you may need to check that friend. That person may not be the best person for you. Or they may say, you may not need to do that. And sometimes we look at our parents and be like, man, y'all just tripping, or, you don't want me to do this, and da 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 da. And that may be the case, but still, you have to listen because they have experiences that you do not have, and you need to be able to listen so that you can obey. So the second part is obeying. You can't just always hear, you got to do something. I always think about Hello Ruth. I started this ministry very scared, very nervous, not really knowing what to do, how to do it, not really having a lot of guidance on what to do with the ministry, because I'm getting closer to God every day just like everybody else is. How can I lead somebody? How can I show somebody something? But I heard the voice of God, and I knew he was telling me to do this. Even though I wrestled, even though I fought, even though I was like, nah, man, this ain't, what this person gonna think, what this person gonna say, nah, this ain't for me. But me listening and obeying, actually doing what he said, birthed so many things on the backside of my yes. If I had not really put my heart and soul and pouring out and doing the things that God had told me to do, there wouldn't be a book or books. There wouldn't be businesses. There wouldn't be coaching sessions. There wouldn't be all of these things that have happened on the backside of my yes. So not only as a mentee am I listening, I have to obey. You have to obey what they are saying, especially if it's confirmation in the line of what God has been telling you. Sometimes we are hearing what to do, but we don't do it because we're afraid. We are fearful. We think we can't do it, or we think that I'm not the person. I'm not equipped for this. But if God put you to it and brought you to that point in your life where he's saying, okay, yeah, I want you to step out, I want you to believe him, then do it. Yes, it's going to be scary. Yes, you may fall. Yes, you may not have it all together, but at least you can be the one who says, I took the step. There are so many people who are sitting now that have not taken the step, but at least you could be the one to say, I took the step. I listen and I'm obeying. And even if it doesn't work out, even if it does fall, even if I do make a mistake, at least I was the one who stood out on faith and took that leap of faith to do what I feel yearning inside of me to do, whether it's to write a book, or whether it's to start a business, or whether it's to mentor girls or boys, or start a school, or whatever the thing may be. As long as you can go back and say, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I tried it. It may not have worked out. It may not have gone the way I thought, but I can say that I stepped out and I trusted God. And, at least you have that to say. At least you got uncomfortable. At least you got out of your comfort zone to say, enough is enough. You died to your flesh. You died to yourself. Because sometimes, y'all, I'm going to tell you, the most uncomfortable things have been the greatest things and greatest moves in my life. Just a true testimony of something that just recently happened that I really haven't shared with a lot of people. A lot of people don't know this. But last year, God put in my heart to level up. It was time to level up. It's time to level up in our finances. It's time to level up in our businesses. It's time to level up in ministry, in our financial life, in our emotional life. It was time to level up. So one of the things that I really, really wanted and desired was to be a homeowner. I wanted to be a homeowner. So last year we had this amazing woman come and talk to the women and men of Hello Ruth about home ownership. I listened. Come on here, God. I listened, because at the time I was still living. I was in my family home, ready to move out, ready to get some things done for me. I had to listen. So I brought her on, listened to her speak, not to just me, to everybody. And I was like, okay, Lord, maybe I can do this. So the next step for me was, okay, I listened to the wisdom and things that she told me to do, but I had to reach out to her to let her know that I was ready to start this process, right? So anyone who's a homeowner know there's a process that you have to take. There's a process to take for anything, right? So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I think I'm ready to do this. She got me in touch with the agent the broker or whatever to check my credit and all of that. And my credit wasn't where it needed to be. Okay. And so she was like, okay, the guy was like, okay, this is what you need to do. You need to pay all of your credit cards down to $30. I was like, okay, pay that off. And I promise you, your credit score is going to jump up. I listened. I obeyed. And so I was able to pay those cards off. And once I paid those cards off, my score went up like 80 some, almost 90 some points. I still had some other things on my credit, but the fact that all I needed was that score, that's all I needed. I got the score, and I eventually got approved for the loan, the home loan. Okay. Once I got into the process, let me tell you how the enemy gets so mad. This is a word from somebody. When you step out and do things that you know God has told you or know that he's promised you to do, there are going to be trials and tribulations that are going to try to stop you. So I was supposed to close on my home December 31st. The whole month of December, man, the enemy was in my head. Like, you can't do this. This is not going to happen. What if you can't afford this? And what if I'm talking about, he was talking to me so bad until the point where I kept pushing off the agent. I was like, well, let me pray about it and let me do this. And God was like, I had already told you. You just got to trust. I'm being transparent because somebody needs to understand that if someone is telling you to do something and you know it is in the will, be ready for the attacks. Be ready for the things that's going to come, the doubts and the mind games and the issues that are going to come to try to get you off of the path that God has predestined for you. I knew that this is something that God told me that was going to happen for my life. And at the time I was like right there, and then just kind of all hell just started breaking loose to the fact that to the point where I told her, I just need to pray about it some more. Let me pray about it some more. And so I remember, I think it was on December 31st. I think it was either 30th or 31st. I called her back and I said, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready. I fought that whole month. God had been telling me to step out. God had been telling me to do these things. I had to get it in my mind and say, okay, yes, I'm going to do it. That's how we are sometimes, right? When we get uncomfortable, when we get in places and new levels that we've never been before, we sit here and we question. We start questioning, oh man, can I do this? Oh man, but why? We start acting like babies, man. Like we start questioning things and start asking God, like, why you want me to do it? Why you can't get somebody else? And da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm talking about just all over the place. But something happens when you obey. And as y'all can see, I am in my home. I closed on January the 31st. So God is good, man. That's a testimony to somebody. Like, you listen and obey. Like, listen and do what God is telling you to do and trust it. We got to learn how to trust his voice. We got to learn how to be sensitive to him, to know when he's talking to us, because the enemy talks to us too. The enemy talks too, and he tries to tell us that this is not for us, or this is not the way we should go, or this is something that we're not supposed to do. But when God talks to you and give you peace on a certain thing, man, you got to flow with it. You got to trust it and know that this is the will of the Lord. And yes, it may not be easy all the time. It may be hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to challenge you. But I'm here to let somebody know, if you listen and obey to his leading and to his voice, I promise you, he will never lead you astray. He's going to blow your mind. He's going to blow your mind. Even when I closed on my home, y'all, I got to share this with you guys. The real estate agent was like, you got the lowest percentage rate ever, the lowest that I've ever had. I'm like, huh? I'm still in the process, like, what's going on? I'm already overwhelmed, but I'm like, what? God was working that thing out already. It wasn't for me to close. See, it wasn't for me to do it on December the 31st. He had to make me wait. I I had to wait that 30 days because probably my interest rate probably would have been a little bit higher than a 3. I don't know, but God made me wait for that reason. So we just got to trust it. When your mind begins to overthink and doubt, oh yes, come on, Tisha, doubt and overthinking. Boy, I'm the master of overthinking. I play situations. I don't know anybody else want to be honest, but there are sometimes I play scenarios and situations in my head before it even happened. And I'm sitting up there like with the what ifs. What if it goes like this? Or what if this happened? Or what if this? I'm telling you, it will come in. It'll make you try to doubt. It'll make you try to overthink. It'll make you try to do these certain things. But I'm telling you, if you obey the voice of God, he is going to just blow your mind. He's going to do some things. You'll be looking like, man, leave you in awe. He will leave you in awe. And I think, you know, even with Naomi and Ruth's situation, I think even in that situation, like, Ruth wasn't in that situation to get a husband. She wasn't even looking for one. However, Naomi had knowledge of who Boaz was to her and her family and knew that he was the kinsman redeemer, that he could redeem them. She knew this stuff. And so, you know, her wisdom and her expertise, and Ruth was like, okay, well, you know, hey, if this is what I'm supposed to do. And the thing about her that I like, she didn't question. Ruth did not question Naomi. Ruth didn't, if you read the word, she did not question Naomi on anything. She just heard it. And she moved. She said, she told her, and I may not be on the right verse of scripture. She told her, I think it was in Ruth 3:3, wash yourself, anoint yourself, put on your best clothes. And she went and obeyed. Nothing in that scripture tells you, she said, well, when I do that, what do I do? Or what dress should I wear? Or what kind of perfume should I put on? Or what should I be washing? Like, what you want me to wash? She ain't have questions. She just did it. That's an example on today. So now that I went there and God led me there, I'm going to talk about the role of a mentor and the role of the mentee. See, I've had, without even really knowing they were mentors, people who came and sold a word or said something over this ministry, which now we have Facebook Lives. I did not want to do this. Let me just sidebar. I had no intention to get on here talking to y'all like this on Facebook, on Periscope, on any of Instagram, any of that. That was never my intention. My intention was to hold a Bible study class. And we read the word of God together like we used to do at the library. All of this technology stuff came on the backside of someone birthing that and speaking that over my life, and yet confirming what God had already told me. So even with where we are as a ministry now, there have been people that have spoken into my life, have said, oh girl, this and this and this and that, and oh, I see this and I see that. I could have just listened to what they said and not really get into God's presence to see if it was confirmation, or get into God's presence to know which way to go. I could have listened and obeyed and totally flopped this whole thing. But it's something about when God gives you a word and he gives you peace, and he gives you a word that has confirmed something that he has already spoken to you. Because if I can be very transparent, I was supposed to start these Facebook Lives like year 2 of Hello Roof, and we're in year 6. Yeah, I was disobedient. I mean, hey, I've got to be honest. That was me. I'm being transparent. I don't want to do this. This is out of my character. I'm the shy person. I like to be in the back. I push everybody else to the front. Y'all get out there and do it. Y'all do that. And God was like, I put something in you, girl. You got to do it. I want you to do it. I'm not going to stop until you do what I said do. All right, so the role of a mentor. Let's go back. Mentorship, giving you the definition again, is guidance provided by a mentor or an experienced person, or a relationship in which a more experienced person helps and guides a less experienced person. And I'm coming from Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. So let's talk about the role of a mentor. So I've, in my years of really just walking this spiritual journey, have had the opportunity to mentor other people, not really knowing that I was doing that. I heard a message from T.D. Jakes one time, and he said that you should have two types of people in your life. People who are above you, doing things that you're not doing so that you can get there, or people who are not exactly where you are, but who are looking up to you to get to where you are so that they can go to the next level. So I'm going to say that again. There should be two. If you look in your life, there should be two types of people. People who are not where you are, who are above spiritually, financially, emotionally, all that kind of stuff. They are high above where you are. And then you should have someone who's under you, because guess what? As you are growing and learning, you're pulling that person up, and the person who above you is pulling you. So it's like a chain reaction, right? So your mentor should be someone who is with experience. And I got to go back and say this. It does not have to, let me shout this out. It has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with age. Like, your mentor can be the same age as you. And in some cases, they may be younger. It just depends on what you've, well, let me give you an example. Okay, maybe there's a person who's like a guru in marketing. I don't know. They're a guru. Like, it could be a 24-year-old male. He's a guru in marketing. And here I am, a 37-year-old woman needing some insight. You think I'm not going to go to him? It has nothing to do with age. It has to do with experience, knowledge, and wisdom that they have on a certain topic, subject. See, I'm not just talking about spiritual wisdom. I'm talking about holistic, like anything that you need help with. It does not matter how old they are. Your mentors are going to listen to you first. They're going to hear what you have to say, and then they're going to respond. Here's the thing. When they respond to you, you got to be willing to hear what they have to say. You got to listen as well. Your mentors, if you want to be a mentor or a mentor, is going to create space for you to grow. They're going to give you room for you to do whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you're trying to grow spiritually, if you're trying to grow in a certain area with marketing or business or singing or whatever it is, they're going to allow you that space and that time for you to grow. Okay, your mentor is going to push you to try new things. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, because a lot of times, to be honest, we don't like doing stuff. We don't like being uncomfortable. Okay, we hate when somebody trying to get us out there to do something out of our norm. We don't like it. We don't like change. We don't want to do this. We can't accept. You got to throw out. In this season, you got to throw all of that stuff out of the window. Because they're going to push you. And they're going to put... I got to bring my sister Tisha up, because she say I do this to her all the time. Which I really didn't know that I was doing that, boo-boo. I'm so sorry. But I would just be like, hey, I need you to... I want you to pray on a prayer call. Or I want you to do this. I want you to start writing for our blogs. I want you to do this. And she'll be like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. She used to say she always put me, don't Charrisa tell you to do something, and next thing you know, you'll be on a flyer. Well, if God put it in my spirit, if I don't push you, who else will? She said, yes, she do. I know, baby, but I'm just like that. I'm learning to understand that I don't have any children, but I do have kind of like mother qualities, and I see things in people, and I just like to push people out past their norm. Everybody did me like that, so hey, I'm going to push you guys. So yeah, I do. So they're going to push you to try things. Yes, you're going to be uncomfortable, but if it is something that you know this is something that you're supposed to be doing, then hey, it's time. They're going to point out potentials in you that you may not see. So they may see things in you that you really don't, or you're not playing on. Like they may see gifts in you that you're not, working on or working towards. They may point those things out and say, hey, you may want to look at doing this, or hey, you may want to look at doing that. Even, in my own personal experience with mentoring, now that I do coaching for books or whatever, when I'm talking to someone and I'm telling them things, I'm learning how to. I used to be at a point in life where when God was speaking to me, I wouldn't say it. I was very kind of afraid of what people would think if I tell them or say what God was telling me to say. But now I understand that I got to use my voice. And sometimes God works in me in that prophetic realm, or whatever you want to call it, or whatever, and just give me an unction to say something. And so usually when I'm listening to someone telling me this idea that they have about a book and God downloads into me, I'm learning how to just regurgitate it like right then and there, to let them know, oh, I see this, or oh, I see that, or oh, this is what you should do, because that's the wisdom and knowledge that God gives you. And if you ever flow in that, if you're on here or watching the replay and you feel like God is telling you to say things, but you're scared to say, I'm telling you, you better open your mouth and speak. One of the biggest things that the enemy likes to do is keep us silent, and we can no longer be silent. We can no longer be silent. We have to move and act on the voice of God when he's speaking to us. But in order to know that he's speaking, you got to have a relationship with him so you can know that it's him talking to you and not the enemy. I said before that the enemy will talk to you sometimes. He'll try to talk to you out of things, but you got to get into that relationship with God. And if you're not, spiritual, this is just me, you have to have that relationship with God in order for you to know when he's speaking to you and know when to move. Okay, so they'll point out potential that you may not see. They'll share their knowledge and experiences. Some people, as I talked about the boy that was 24 who went for marketing, that may be something that he learned in school. Well, I can go to school for marketing. I really don't know too much about it. So yeah, I'm going to go to him because he has knowledge on that certain thing. Or maybe I can share this. I've been on the prayer team for a while, and there were times when I didn't understand what God was doing in my gifting. And so I reached out to somebody who had more experience than I. Well, I felt like they had more experience than I. And I would ask them certain things, and they'll say, oh, yeah, this is what that is, or whatever like that. We need to reach out because they're going to share their knowledge and their experience, what they have and what they know about that particular thing or whatever you're asking about. They're going to help you develop your vision. So everybody has a vision for your life, for yourself, for, whether it's personal, whether it's career-wise, spiritually, whatever. Everybody has a vision of where they want to go. And your mentor is going to be the person to help you develop. Like I said before, they're going to point out things that you may not see. They're going to help you develop that vision. I always look at a mentor as being like a midwife. Those of you who know what midwives are, people who see a gift and help you birth that gift out. That's kind of what I look at a mentor when I think about helping you develop the vision, the plan, the purpose, the business, the book, whatever. That person helps you birth it out. Here's a good one. Mentors are models. And they are models on how to do something. So you cannot I couldn't go to, for example, a person who's good at, let's say a Facebook Live, doing a Facebook Live video, trying to get them to help me with marketing. If they don't know anything about it, if I haven't seen them do it, then how am I going to go to them and ask them for that particular thing? They are going to be models. They're going to be your role model of some kind to help you do whatever it is that you're trying to do. Here's a good one. Mentors say yes and they say no. Sometimes, if we can be honest, we want everybody to be the yes man. We want our mentors to be like, yeah, you should do this. Yeah. You wouldn't be a good mentor if you don't say no. You got to be real sometimes. You got to be like, no, sis, no, that ain't the right way. That ain't what you're supposed to do. You got to be able to say yes, and you got to be able to say no. But as a mentee, you got to be able to take when that person says yes and when that person says no. And don't get offended when they say no. I mean, that was one of the biggest lessons I had to learn when someone, was telling me, well, sis, you probably shouldn't have did that. I used to think, man, what? Why they say that and what? But I had to learn. As a mentor, they going to tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly. And they going to stick by me, but they going to tell me when I'm wrong. They going to also tell me when I'm right. So they say yes and no. And this is one that I also had to learn. Mentors protect, but they know how to let go. I got to say that one again. Mentors protect, but they know how to let go. So I wouldn't be a good mentor if I'm holding you on. I'm keeping you sheltered, right? I got to be able to say, I see the potential. I see where you are. It's time for you to fly. You coming out the cocoon. It's time to go. And I got to be okay with that, right? I got to be able to let that go. You have to be able to let it go. And you have to be able to accept when your mentor is no longer needed. As a mentee, you got to be able to accept when, you don't need them, or you moving on, or maybe somebody else, or whatever the case may be. But you got to be able to let go. That was one of the biggest things that I had to learn, how to let go of things, how to let, my phone is ringing, y'all, how to let go of things, how to let go of people. I had to learn how to do that. As a mentor, as a mentee, I had to learn how to be okay when people weren't available. I had to learn how to be okay with it. I'm saying that to someone who may be watching now or on the replay. When you're talking about mentorship, as a mentor, you got to be able to let go. And as a mentee, you got to be okay with the letting go. All right. So mentees, I said that they listen. I said that they obey. They get comfortable. I think also too, as a mentee, you need to be able to respect your mentor, respect their, hear what they have to say, give them the respect that they need, to be open and be vulnerable. But also as a mentor, you got to be teachable. You got to be teachable. You can't be a know-it-all. Ouch. You can't be a know-it-all. You got to be teachable. You got to be able to be taught, be led. Got to be able to follow before lead. Ooh, that was good. You got to follow before leading. Got to be teachable. You got to recognize that everybody is not perfect. Even your mentor is not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. We're not perfect. We mess up sometimes. We make mistakes. We may get out of character. We may come off a little mean sometimes, or a little, grouchy. I mean, we all have our days. Good, bad, ugly. We got them. Nobody's perfect. And you have to be able, as a mentee, share your experiences with others. That's good. So that goes back to where I said there's always someone above you and someone that, I wouldn't say they under you or whatever, but they're not on the same level that you are, maybe whether it be spiritually or emotionally or whatever the case may be. Or if you want to look at business wise, maybe you have more experiences with writing a book. Maybe this person is just starting out. So share your experience. So as you are being mentored, you are mentoring someone who is not where you are. That's the cycle. That's iron sharpens iron. Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron. So that I am learning and gleaning and growing. You are learning and growing and gleaning, and you have somebody else that you are pouring into who's not where you are, but you're pulling them up. So it's everybody's going up on the level. Everybody. Nobody's staying in the same place. Now, if you're looking at where you are today and you feel like you are in the same place that you were last year or 1 month before, then you need to find some people who are going to pour into you and pull you up. You got to have some folks in your life who are sharpening you. If you do not have people that are sharpening you, it will cause you to remain stagnant. You gotta surround yourself with people who are pushing you, who are encouraging you, who are even probably getting onto you, whether in a good way or a bad way, but they're shaping you and molding you so that you can be your best self, so that you can pull that person who's under you up. It should be a chain. Everybody should be moving. Nobody should be staying the same. I promise you. Lord knows I'm not the same person I was last week. I'm always growing. I'm always open. I'm always learning. I'm always researching. I'm always seeking God and asking God, okay, what are you saying? What is it that you're wanting me to do? And the biggest thing that he has been telling me is that I need to learn how to obey quickly and speak quickly. That's where he said he's telling me. But Lord knows I'm not the same person I was not even yesterday. I'm always growing. I'm growing in faith. I'm growing in wisdom. I'm growing in confidence. I'm growing in knowledge because I'm always learning. And so if you have anything about mentorship or mentoring, or if you feel like you can't be a mentor, well, if you've had any kind of experiences in your life, you can mentor. Mentor is we put this fancy word on it. It's basically just sharpening and refreshing somebody else. Whenever you see somebody who's having a bad day or who's down or who's going through something, if you can shed some light to them, that's mentoring. Whether you do it for a business or that's what that is. You're refreshing them. You're sharpening them. You're lifting them out of the rut and the dirt that they're in. That's what mentorship is all about. I pray that this was some good meat, because when God was giving it to me, he was blowing my mind. He was blowing my mind. If you have any questions or anything that you want to ask, you can ask me now. I said I was going to try to be on here for about an hour. Thank you, Miss Ruth Owens. God bless you. Thank you, D Swans. I see you. Hey, bruh. Hey. Thank you, guys. Hey, Miss Sharon. God bless you. If you have any questions or anything you want to ask about mentorship or anything like that, you guys can sound them off on the comments and I'll go ahead and ask. Hey, Trina, good morning. Good morning, Dominique. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you. Oh, thank you, D. God be the glory, man. Like, I promise you, this is some things that, I've been fighting. I'm not I don't know how to call it. I just been fearful about Facebook Lives and things like that. So I don't really do these things like that. So God bless you, bro, for telling me that. Oh, thank you, Sade. Hey, Tasha. If y'all have any questions or anything that I can hey, Jeanette. Hey, Shirley. Thank you, guys. Thank y'all so much. To God be the glory, man. To God be the glory. And I'm going to get on here more. I promise you guys. I'm overcoming my fears. I can't, how can I say this? I can't lead if I want to continue to be comfortable. So this is an uncomfortable moment for me. So I feel like I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Thank you, D. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I love you guys, man, for rocking out on this Facebook Live. Listen, I again, I just always want to share my heart, and I try to, when someone asks a question about something, I try to, go before God and seek Him and just ask Him what is it that He wants me to say, or how I can speak to a certain situation. And so if you have things that you would like for us to talk about on these Facebook Lives, because I have a wonderful team that I'm going to be pushing out to get on here with me, whether we do it one-on-one or we do it as a group, just to get on here, just to share what God has given us on certain situations. So if you have some topics or anything like that you would like us to kind of just speak on, drop them in the comments or text me. I know most of y'all have my number. Text me, inbox me, Facebook me, and then we're going to go into prayer and we're going to go before God and we're going to speak onto that thing. It may not be like tomorrow sometime, but we're going to speak to that thing. I pray that you guys are well, healthy, whole. I pray that you guys have been blessed. I pray that even through this pandemic that God has been speaking to you. I pray that you don't go out of the pandemic the way that you came in. There should be something different about you. Should be something different about your relationship with God. I pray that you are seeking Him like never before. I pray that businesses or whatever, books, ministries, whatever God has laid on your heart to do, I am decreeing and declaring that you will take that next step, that you will get uncomfortable. I pray that you start sharpening somebody else with your experiences and your knowledge. You are a great wealth of knowledge and resources. I pray that you start helping someone else along the way, pulling them up. I pray that even, as I am getting uncomfortable, you get uncomfortable. I pray that you step out on faith and move and do what God is telling you to do in this season. And not worried about your critics. Don't worry about your critics. Don't try to explain yourself. Don't just, whatever God tell you to do, you do it, and you be unapologetically you. I love y'all. I'm getting off. I gotta go get me something to eat. I'm hungry. I love y'all. I see y'all still on. I see y'all. God bless you guys. Look, if it was something that, you want to share, tag, do whatever, go ahead and do that. People need to understand, man. We're needed. Like, we are equipped and needed. And so many people need to rise up in this season. So many people need to rise up in this season and use what God has put in them to use it for His glory, for His kingdom, for sharpening somebody else who could be down right in their neighborhood, in their area code, in their home, on their job, next door, family, cousin, ministry. We have something to say, y'all. It's time to say it. I love y'all. Mwah. God bless you. Y'all have a good Saturday.